Welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where it is a beautiful, sunshiny, well, kind of colder morning, but it is Friday. And I know that you all are so excited about your weekend. And we have the Drama Club here from Vinton County High School. And you all are putting on one of my favorite shows in the world, which is Grease. So, hey, everybody. So can you tell everybody who you all are and what character you're playing? I can't. All right, and sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you guys, but I know that you can hear me. And so, can you tell our viewers, somebody really loudly, tell us kind of about the story of Greece? And it's so cute. Now, there's lots of singing. Are they not coming through? Really low? Okay. So in Greece, if I remember correctly, which I watched, I don't know, somewhere around 3,042 times in college, I could probably recite your play for you. I wouldn't have to rehearse. But no, it is so fun and so full of song and dance. So are you guys getting to do lots of that? So what's your favorite songs? What is it? Do you guys get to do like Grease Lightning and stuff? Okay. And now let's just be honest. The movie of Grease and the high school version of Grease probably needs to be a little different, right? Because it's a little, shall we say, ornery. Yeah. But that's really cool. So they've adapted it obviously to where you all can perform it. So how long have you been working on this? Very cool. All right. So what would you like to tell our viewers? Because tell them all about when the play is and all of that stuff and where. Okay, very good. And how do people get tickets? At the door? Okay, very good. And can they get them like pre-sale anywhere or online? Okay. Pre-sale where? At the door or at the school? Okay, very cool. And then is this held, and you may have said this, but I kind of can't hear. Is this at the high school? Okay. Very, very cool. Well, what would you like our viewers to know about your play? This is so exciting. I see Frenchie back there because you had trouble in tenting class. I had a little trouble in tenting class. No, tell us what all you'd like to tell our viewers. And it is, I don't think people understand how hard it is and how much you all work to put these shows on and how much goes on behind the scenes with lighting and costumes and set design and all of the things. And, you put your hearts and souls into it. So please, everybody, get out. Grease is such a fun show, and support these kids in Vinton County because they've worked so hard. So thank you all for stopping by. We appreciate it very, very much. And we have your extension agent here. Wait, what's your official title?
Extension educator.
Extension educator here. He said that 4-H, and he said that a lot of you couldn't be here today in studio because of this. So we got you here anyway, which is very exciting. So thank you. All right, best of luck. Break a leg this weekend. Thank you. We'll see ya. Have fun. All right. Well, we do have a message. Thanks to our friends from Vinton County, and we'll be back right after this.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right, and we are back, and we are with our good friend, Travis, right?
Yep.
But tell everybody who you are officially.
Okay.
And your official title, because I can't spit it out of my mouth because it's like long.
So Travis West, I'm the 4-H Youth Development Educator in Vinton County.
See, this is why I can't remember how to say it. And Travis, about how long have you been doing this?
So this is year 19 in Vinton County.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, doesn't seem that possible. But
You look like you're 19. How have you been doing?
I know, just 25, but so yeah. So extension, I was in Athens County, and then I worked at the South Centers at Piketon. So this is year 26 in extension for me. So
Good grief.
I guess I age well.
You must, because you just look like a baby. So tell us a little bit about how did you get started in 4-H? And I ask that because I think so many of us grew up in 4-H, and it was and I preach this all the time, such an integral part of my childhood, and just so much of what I learned in 4-H I still carry today. Did you have that experience?
So I did. Raised on a farm, and I actually didn't start 4-H the first time, even though we were involved in livestock. That wasn't
Really?
When I was 8. I was like one of those kids that was like, yeah, I don't really do anything out of ordinary. I just go to school. So it's
intimidating and it's scary, which is one of the things 4-H teaches you, to get outside your box and to be brave.
Yes. So jumped in at 9, and the first year was a little rough, but anyways.
I have a fun stories for you too, but yeah.
So that was kind of my start into 4-H. So I do think, based on who your volunteer is, right, and sort of drawing you in, from then on, I was involved. I was also then involved in FFA, so chapter president at that point. But
okay.
I think one of the ways to sort of pull me out of I was one of those kids that would just prefer to go home after school, right, spend time on the farm, but I didn't do sort of any extracurriculars.
Sure.
So I think 4-H
So
was
you were a little
the first
bit shy.
opportunity to sort of broaden my horizons, I guess, and get out there. And so 4-H volunteers right in the club were the ones that really helped me.
And you think back about those very folks that I remember, starting. I showed horses, so I started riding when I was 6, fell off my first lesson or second lesson. My mom was like, thank God there's the end of that. Got right back on the horse and kept on going. And she thought, oh God, I'm in trouble. So ironically, first 4-H meeting we had where you brought your horse to an area and you rode, and I'm 9 years old, and fell off in front of the whole club. Because there was a puddle and my horse went one way and I went the other, and I didn't know what I was doing. And those volunteers, and one was in the other day to our restaurant. And I was talking with her about how important she was to me. But they picked me up, got me back on the horse, encouraged me because I was deathly embarrassed.
Right.
Like I could have just died, right there, melted into that mud puddle, but they wouldn't let me quit. They wouldn't, and they were so encouraging and so helpful, and that's what 4-H is all about. And then as you get older, you become that for the younger kids. And it just meant so much to me. I remember.
So it's interesting you mentioned horses because when I grew up, my parents had horses. I was never interested in horses. And so the joke is that when I chose my first 4-H project, my uncle had cattle next door. I also didn't want cattle at that point. So I was like, oh, I think I should jump into rabbits. I'd like to have a couple rabbits. So my dad was like, well, I know this person. Let's go get a couple rabbits. So the joke was that I used to, every time my parents would get rid of a horse, I would fill the horse stall with rabbit cages. So now that has, started as my first 4-H project. Now, 40 years later at this point, basically, I have 300 or 400 rabbits and very involved in the rabbit industry. So it's kind of interesting how that comes full circle. But the big joke was like my parents would sell a horse and then I would fill the stall with cages with rabbits. So there was no place for another horse. And eventually we ended up with, I took cattle projects and rabbit projects, and we were eventually out of the horse business. But anyways, that was the big joke with my family. Like every time they would sell a horse, I would fill the horse stall with cages and put rabbits in it.
Well, hey, I'd say rabbits are a bit more profitable than horses, which are a money pit, by the way, but beautiful and lovable, and so many good experiences there. But so you are still involved in the rabbit industry today?
I am, yes. Yep.
That is so cool.
Yep.
So you started in a little guy in 4-H, and here you are.
Yes.
So let's talk about the 4-H programs. We have Josh and Maddie come in sometimes from Jackson County. I'm sure y'all know each other. But let's talk. So I'm kind of more familiar about the Jackson program just because I grew up in it and, went to the fair. So tell us a little bit about Benton County and what you've been doing with your 4-H programs.
So in Benton County, we have roughly 500 members, typically in community clubs. And so exciting this year to bring back an Iron Chef competition that we had in 2019. So
I heard something about that.
So opportunity for some kids in clubs to get in groups. The ingredient this year is honey, so they have to come up with a recipe that includes honey, and they make that, and then they come to judging on April 12th.
Okay, so they don't have to make it like right there in front of they make it at home and then bring
they
it.
make it at home, so they
That's cool.
they can create their own recipe, they can get grandma's recipe, they can find one online. So it's sort of up to their creativity, right? If they want to make something with honey and like try it out multiple times till they get to judging that, fine. But they bring it prepared. And then we have some skill stations. So one of those will be them learning from an expert about there's not just one type of honey, right? It depends on the season.
It does.
And where it's where the honey comes from, right? Where the bees are. So they do some skill stations as well as an interview with a panel of judges. And then we'll have some results presented on that day at the beginning of our advisor recognition fundraiser event that day as well. So
I love that. So how do people get, or is this for 4-Hers or FFAers? Or?
It is for 4-H members.
Okay.
So they typically they create teams in their club of 2 to 4 kids, but that doesn't have to be within their club. It could be with friends that they go to school with. So 2 to 4 kids come together, but it is just limited to 4-H members. Of course, we're in the middle of our 4-H enrollment drive
Okay.
now. So the deadline is March 31st. So coming fast.
You got 10 days.
Yes,
you better
10
get on
days
it.
to get your enrollments in Vinton County. So anyways, we're excited.
So that's cool. So how do they sign up for the Iron Chef thing first off, and then let's get back to how we're going to sign kids up for 4-H.
Okay. So Iron Chef, there we have distributed that to 4-H families, but there is you can call the office. There's also an online link that is posted on our Facebook page and our 4-H app that they can sign up, listing their members. Whether they have to pick, like, is it an appetizer, a dessert, a main dish, and then tell us the title of what they're actually making to bring to judging. So
who doesn't like to cook with honey, right? Like, what a fun ingredient for you all to pick.
Yep.
And so I overheard you talking on the radio a little bit on my drive in about the fact that there's some beekeeping projects.
Yes. Yep.
In 4-H. And so Matt was talking about how he didn't grow up on a farm. He grew up in town. So there are such thing as general projects. So you don't have to take a steer or a horse or a pig or something to the fair. You can do any number of general projects. So can we talk about that for a minute?
Yep. So I like to think of 4-H, the thing we typically see, right? We go to the county fair and we see animals. So that's
what you
some
think
people
of, yeah.
associate that with 4-H. But if you go to the exhibit buildings, right, you're going to see club booths where kids have displayed. But over 200 projects, and the majority of those are not livestock. Realistically. So I always tell kids, no matter what your interest is, right? You have interest in something or passion in something that you're already doing and you want to learn more about, we have a project for that, or we can create a project for that, right? Through self-determined.
That's the big thing,
Yes.
too. Like, you can actually create a project based around your interests.
Yes. Or I like to tell kids, look through that family guide, right? And pick out something. I try to tell my own daughter this, like, just pick out something, right, that you would like to learn about. Maybe you want to learn how to cook. Right? You want to learn how to cook on a grill because you think that seems really cool? We have 2 Grill Master-based projects. So
Really?
specifically food projects
Fun.
targeted towards using your grill, right? And understanding how to cook using that. So
I would like to do that. I know. I asked Maddie one day if I could come back and be in 4-H again because I think back about maybe not utilizing or enjoying all of some of those general projects that would have been fun to do also on the side. You just get stuck in your lane, and then you don't think about doing other things outside your box. And you should. That's what 4-H is all about.
Yes. So I try to tell kids, like, even if you're taking livestock, right, you can always take one of those non-livestock projects, and you can do those projects at any point, right? You could start those in the fall if you wanted, or in January.
Yeah.
Like if you're taking a hog and you're not tagging that hog in until May, you probably don't have it until late in March. You got a couple months.
Yeah.
Of course, I try to tell my own daughter that, and sometimes that's successful, and
well,
sometimes not. When
we're
it's
all
coming from your own parents.
But that is so true.
Yeah.
But so, what are some of the most interesting general projects you've seen kids take on?
So I guess a couple. I'm always encouraged, or I guess amazed by kids that take the woodworking project and sort of what things they can make in woodworking. The other one that always sort of amazes me is the displays that kids bring with the geology project. So you think of geology, like, are kids just going out and collecting rocks?
Yeah,
It's
are they
like,
just picking up gravel in their driveway, or
that's
what?
my favorite things. That's really like a collectibles, right? If you're just collecting rocks. So really learning about that. The other one that to me is really interesting, and my nephew actually did this, was the polar science one. So you make simulate a polar ice core, and so there's this process of how you do these layers, and you freeze it, and then you talk about what's there. So just really a lot of interest in what kids learn and what they can relay. I always get the opportunity sometimes to do like makeup interviews for our project judging. So there's 10-minute interviews. So it's always interesting to me to hear kids talk about what they learned and what they did in some of those projects.
I'm just sitting here thinking of the fact that county fairs are typically in July, August. How do you do a project with ice in July? I swear I did the project. It just disappeared.
Yes, it just disappeared. Yes. Spend a lot of time in a freezer getting that project to take pictures of, right, and put that in your project book. But yeah, definitely July. We're not thinking about polar science usually, right?
That would be quite a challenge, to say the least.
Yeah.
No, and that is so cool because you can learn just so many things, again, outside of your comfort zone and your box. And these interviews, you're learning, the skills, the public speaking skills, and I mean, it's tough.
Yes. Yep. So in Vinton County, we actually, every kid for every project has to do a 10-minute interview. It is a huge undertaking. But I think it gives kids an opportunity to sit across the table from somebody they probably don't know and really just talk about their project. So kids, of course, their first year, right? Some of them are like very nervous, like, what is this going to look like? And I always say, you bring a poster or a display, you have your project book, and they really just want to know, right? Tell us about your project.
Exactly. So. Like, you know more about it probably than I do, so you fill us in on what you've learned and done. Yeah. For sure. That sounds great. All right, let's talk about enrollment of 4-H just in general in Vinton County. And, maybe there's somebody out there today that's like, oh, wait, I thought I had to take a cow to the fair or whatever. Like, there's this general stuff they're talking about. Like, maybe I would like to sign up for 4-H.
Yep. So if you, in Vinton County, like I said, enrollments are open through the end of March. If you go over to our webpage, vinton.osu.edu, there's a link on there that will have what we basically call the school handout. So it gives you a general information about 4-H and then a list of clubs that are accepting new members with phone numbers. So you can kind of see where they're meeting, if they have Clover Buds. So if you have younger kids that are looking to get started in that kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, those clubs will be indicated on there that they have existing Clover Buds programs within their club.
Okay.
And so that will get you started. They can give you the link to get enrolled and give you the steps of how to do that. That's also posted on our website as well, but making that contact with the club is usually the first step.
And then do you have an office where people could just come in and talk with you?
We do. We are just north of MacArthur on 93, so we're in the community building.
Okay.
So if people know where the health department or EMS station is in Vinton County, we're the other building in that same parking lot. So you can come in, and we're happy if you're one of those parents, grandparents raising kids that you think want to be involved, and you're like, I don't know about all this online enrollment stuff, right? I always tell people,
I mean, it can
come
be
into the
intimidating.
office. We will walk you through it on our computer if we have to get your kids enrolled in 4-H. So.
Yeah, and so do kids still, like, I remember being in 4-H, we like to say a few years ago. We don't say, like, the amount of few years ago. But I was, just to let you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this because it's common knowledge around here, but I was the 1990 horse queen at the Jackson County Fair. So everybody,
awesome.
We've got to tell everybody about that.
From falling in a mud puddle to horse queen,
to horse
right?
queen.
Awesome.
How far did she come? But anyway, no, I like to joke about that. But when I remember coming up in the horse program, and we had these books that we had to complete. Is that still a thing?
It is still a thing. So there is a project book for all of the projects, and those books are really geared towards giving you some learning activities. So to learn. You can kind of design your own learning experience as well, right? Like, I want to learn about breeds of horses, right? That potentially could be one of the things that you put in there as a goal that you work towards. And it includes, with livestock, includes some record keeping. So the ability to sort of track activities, expenses. And I know kids think, oh, I got to do something else. We don't want it to seem like school, but the reality is, right, if you're taking a market project, your goal is to make some money, right?
Right, absolutely, and that's part of it. Yeah, it is all fun and games, right?
And so I would say, like, you're going to be an adult someday, right? And you're going to have to keep track of your own finances.
Yes.
So why not start in 4-H learning about how that is? Because nobody else is going to do it for you when you're an adult.
We all need to learn to budget, and the earlier the better.
Yes, I agree.
That is so cool. Well, tell us about the Clover Bud program, because that's something that, as far as I know, did not exist when I was coming up in 4-H, or maybe it did like later on. But I don't remember when that started. But I don't think I had the opportunity to be a Clover Bud.
Okay. So probably
I was the horse queen, though.
She was the horse queen,
didn't
but
hear the first
Clover
time.
Buds. So I don't remember that as a 4-H member either. So
Okay,
probably wasn't an option necessarily. So Clover Buds are really activities that are short, geared towards those kids that are kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. So they're group activity. Clubs will have
Short attention span.
yes, short attention span. So no long meetings or long discussions. Really hands-on, interactive. And clubs will have a Clover Bud advisor. So there is a volunteer there that's screened to conduct those activities with the Clover Buds. And so the idea is that those are non-competitive. They're not competitive in any events.
They're dipping their toes in the water,
They're dipping their
right?
toes in the water and working
Yeah.
as a group to be part of the club and complete some projects and do some learning as a group.
You know, and I think it's so good because here's the thing. You know, many kids have older brothers and sisters that are in 4-H. They're at the meetings anyway, or they're hanging around the 4-H club
Right.
anyway. This is a perfect opportunity for them to feel special and to have them start participating in it. And it's not so intimidating when
Right.
you are 9 years old, like you and I
Right.
were like, oh
Yeah,
my
yes.
God, I'm just thrown into this 4-H thing, and as the youngest member,
Uh-huh.
and so it like helps get them going.
It does. We also have a statewide event that's kind of now become regional. So it's called the Clover Bud Engineering Challenge. And so this year it's focused on flight. And so it does
Fun.
give kids the opportunity to, through their club, to work with their volunteer, but then sort of go to a competition, even though they're not judged, but they get to interview with a group of judges as a group of Clover Buds to talk about what they've done for the year. So that comes up in June, and this year it'll be in Hocking County, so very close for Jackson and Vinton County to attend. So not all the way to Columbus this year, just to Hocking County, but an
Great.
opportunity for them to talk about what they've done throughout the year as sort of a group. So it's kind of a group. I always say it's like a group interview, right? So they're getting ready for the one-on-one. When you're a project member, you can interview as a group of Clover Buds with some judges and talk about your project. So
And you can build an airplane. No, I'm just kidding. These Clover Buds built this airplane. Everybody jump inside. No, I think that's so very, very cool. And to let the little ones be part of it, it's just making more and more people interested in 4-H. And it's so very important.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you learned in 4-H? Like, how did it kind of mold you into who you are today?
So I would say, I talked a little bit about sort of, I think, bringing me out of my shell, right?
Yeah.
The ability to get up in front of a group of people and talk about it. So we would do sort of what we called demonstrations in our club. So we would talk about our project, right? And our advisor had some questions they would ask us because, if you're 9 years old, it's like, oh, you want me to talk about my rabbit project? I don't really know what to say.
I don't know.
So I think the ability to just get up in front of a group and talk. And of course, I feel like in a 4-H club, I always tell kids, like, when you get up in front of peers, it's probably the hardest audience you'll get up in front of versus people that you don't know.
You prove that is such a good point. And I showed horses all over the place. And the Jackson County Fair was always the show that I got the most nervous because my friends came and
Right.
watched.
Right.
And I could have just died. I mean, I was just,
Yes.
It was so nerve-wracking.
Yep.
And I appreciated them being there, but it was like the pressure was
Right.
on.
The pressure was on. Yes.
Isn't
yes.
that weird?
It
And you
is.
think, so that is so true about your peers.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that to me sort of 4-H provided was just the ability to sort of be creative and sort of think about, what did you want to learn and sort of designing, like, yes, I'm interested in rabbits, right? That was my project, but some creativity and what about that you wanted to learn. I will be honest that, because my involvement in the rabbit industry today is mainly because of 4-H, because it's like, well, let's go to these open shows and see what that's all about. That's something different we don't experience.
Yeah.
Like, does it look like my county fair rabbit show? Is it different? Totally different.
So are you still showing rabbits, or are you like doing them as selling them to 4-H kids, or what are you doing?
So showing rabbits,
Still
across
as an adult?
yes, across the nation.
Whoa.
So yeah, we don't sell fair rabbits necessarily, market rabbits to
Okay.
kids, but I saw a lot of breeding stock rabbits across the country.
Okay.
So met lots of great friends that I still have through that process of sort of those open shows and networking people. And part of the reason I think why I ended up here, because 4-H educator was never really on my career path as a college student.
Sure.
I thought I was going to be selling livestock pharmaceuticals or livestock feed. That was my career goal at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And never imagined that 26 years later I would be in sort of this role. So.
Well, we're happy that you are. That's awesome. And you mentioned, backing up a couple of sentences, friends and meeting people. And you said you've met people, all over the country. But I have, and we were talking about this with the 4-H horse committee, was in the other day from Jackson. And my friend Jamie Sexton, I met him. I mean, God, we were just little kids, and we met through 4-H, and we've been lifelong friends ever since. And I think about, because I don't know how old you are, but it was a few years ago when we were in 4-H, but we didn't have social media, and we didn't have Facebook, and we didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have any of that stuff. And sometimes the only time you saw these people was the once a year at the fair or at a show or something of that nature. But you think about the people that you met, that you're friends with, that you would have never, ever probably crossed paths with otherwise. And I think that is so cool.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. The county fair was kind of like almost like a family reunion, right?
It was, absolutely.
If they didn't go to your school, weren't in your school district, right? You probably would have never met some of those people that were exhibiting in the rabbit barn or the beef barn at the county fair when I was a 4-H member that I met. So
Yep. And it's so funny because you think about, like, in Jackson County anyway, and I'm sure Benton County is the same, like, you met friends from Wellston or Oak Hill, and it was 8 miles away or whatever, but it may as well been, 8 hours away because you never saw those people the rest of the time because you can't drive.
Yes.
And, you're just a little kid. So when else would you see those kids other than at the fair? So I don't know. I just think it gives you it makes the world so much bigger.
I agree.
Or smaller, I guess, maybe. Like, it opens up your world.
Yeah, and I would say, 4-H camp does that as well, right? So another opportunity that kids get to.
That was going to be my next
in Benton County,
point.
we're all one school district, so it's a little less, but definitely kids that go to 4-H camp, of course, most of them go to Benton County local schools, but doesn't mean that they necessarily interact with each other, right? So the opportunity to go to 4-H camp, again, some kids, that's the reason they're in 4-H. I want to go to 4-H camp because I met great friends there, right? And I only see them once a year in that environment that allows us to experience new things and grow as well, maybe in a little different aspect than you might with a project within a club, but definitely an opportunity.
Absolutely, and it gives you that opportunity to bond with folks, with friends and peers and whatever. So 4-H camp, I assume that you all, we're so blessed to have Cantor's Cave right here in our area, and I assume that you all utilize that as your 4-H camp.
We do, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And does all of the Benton County kids, do they all go at the same time?
We do. We're the only county that camps by ourselves. So we've continued to have high camper numbers to be able to do that. I kind of inherited that system when I came into Benton County, that they camped alone. But yes, we camp all ages at the same time.
So you have the little ones and the older ones.
So we have, basically
I bet that's
eight to 15 as campers, and then 14 and up as counselors. And I always tell people there's advantages and disadvantages to that camping scenario, right? One, it doesn't allow kids to meet kids from other counties, like some of the other counties that camp at Cantor's Cave. Some of my kids would be like, "That's great. I don't want to meet people from other counties." So I'm like, "You really should broaden your horizons, right?" And expand the friendship base. But it allows us to know a lot of those kids before they get to camp. And I think it allows them to have an opportunity to interact with their friends, right? That they maybe see at school, but definitely a different environment than the school environment for them to sort of explore that friendship and learning new things, experiencing new things.
And I think, too, that, I don't know, sometimes in school, and this is everywhere, you get into certain cliques. Maybe you have like the sports people, and you have the band people, and you have the drama people, or whatever. I'm just throwing it out there. And it seems like in 4-H, kind of all of those boundaries get thrown away.
Yes. That's my hope anyways. That's the goal.
That's how I kind of always saw it, is like, oh my gosh, I get to meet this person and know this person on a whole different level.
Yes, I agree. And I think kids find that when they go to camp, right? So kids that they maybe never interact with in whatever extracurriculars they're in are kids that when they come to camp, right, are seem like they're best friends and have been forever. So the ability to just be like, everybody here is on an equal playing field, and what we're here to do is experience new things, learn new things, and have fun, right?
Exactly. So when is the 4-H camp for Vinton County?
So Vinton County Camp is June 2nd through the 5th.
Okay.
So that's a Monday through Thursday, which is a little different for us. We've typically been over a weekend for 18 years. So this is year 19 is kind of branching out a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, so an opportunity to see 100 to 120 of your favorite Vinton County campers.
And did the kids stay there?
We do stay there, overnight. And I will say we do take non-4-H members. So if you're a 4-H member and you have a friend that you want to bring along, or a cousin that's here for the summer, right?
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, we take non-4-H kids as well. The price is just a little different because you don't get a 4-H discount for Vinton County. Vinton County, we give our 4-H committee gives a discount, but we do take non-4-H members as well. A lot of times those kids,
that's so cool.
Once they go, it's like, yes, I want to be in 4-H next year because I want to make sure I have this opportunity to come back. So that speaks power of the program.
Kind of like positive peer pressure.
Yes, that's right.
So what are some of and this is something that I never was able to go to 4-H camp because I always just had something going on. And what are some of the activities that kids do at 4-H camp?
So, at least for Vinton County, our camp, we...
Because I can see some of them getting homesick or I don't know
homesick is
if I want
definitely
to
a concern
go.
sometimes.
Okay.
So, we... my goal is that we try to... something that you're interested in, right? It might not be everything that we do, but one of the things you do is something you really want to do. So they get a chance when they sign up to pick some projects. So we do some craft projects, some games. So if they're into physical activity, if they're into engineering challenges, if they're into boating, if they're into exploring nature, we have all of those options. But we always try to get what we consider the typical traditional camp activities, right? So you're going to get to shoot archery, you're going to get in the paddle boats or the canoes, you're going to get to do some arts and crafts, you're going to do some outdoor cooking. And you're going to get to fish, right? So those are the things that everybody's going to do.
Fun.
Traditional camp
activities.
Swimming,
all that.
Oh, yes. Swimming, yes.
Why? I think I'm making a call for the fact that you should have the old timers 4-H camp.
Old timers 4-H camp. You're not the only one to suggest that. So I take some adults with me, and those adults are always like, we should really do like an old person's camp where we can come and be the campers and not be in charge, right?
Wouldn't it be so fun? I mean, like, it would be it would be the best vacation. Yes. It would just be so simple and so fun.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Something to
be,
think about. I can just see it now. It would probably go awry really fast.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So what are some of the other things that you wanted to tell our viewers while you're here? You know, talk about the fair, maybe the dates, what?
So our fair is the last week in July. So we just follow the Jackson County Fair that next week.
It's always
the next week. So rolling right from one to the other. So I guess a couple things I would highlight at fair that I think beyond livestock shows and some of the the demo derby, the tractor pull, those things that every fair has, right?
Derby.
Yes, anything that's motorized where people get to beat things up. So a couple things I guess I would highlight that we that are, I think, potentially a little bit unique. So we talked about clover buds.
Yes.
So we have a clover bud graduation on the stage, which I think
love
is
that.
Awesome. The fair board sort of coordinates that, but they send out invitations like you're a second grader. This is your last year as a clover bud. You're going to be a project member. They give them graduation hats. They have a little ceremony on the stage. They take pictures. So just kind of a nice way, like, you're going to be a project member next year. Are you so excited? And most kids by that point, right, are ready to like take whatever project.
on. I
right?
got
They've already
this.
decided I want to do something other than this Clover Bud program. I'm ready to
Yes.
pick my own project, whether that's an animal or a non-animal. The other thing that we do that has really, I know they do this in Jackson County pre-fair as well, but we do what we call a day in the ring. So it's an opportunity for anybody with some limited abilities to get a chance to show livestock or at least interact with livestock.
Oh,
and
so good.
Last year we had to cut the registration off at 75. We just filled up. So that's adults and youth. And they get a chance to sort of interact with all the species. So it's a great event. We've had tons of community support for that event. Our fair board allows free admission for those participants and their caregivers to get there. And just, for me, that's one of the exciting events because the excitement on their face, right? To get to interact with a pig or watch a pig run around the ring. I've never done that.
When do you ever get that opportunity, right?
Yes. So anyway, it's a great opportunity. And 4-H and FFA members are there as sort of mentors. And we always have a longer list than we might need because they're like, oh, I want to do that again. That was a great experience to get to talk about my project to somebody else and teach them a little bit. So
very good. See, this is why 4-H is so good, and I preach it so much here on this show because I just think back about all I learned, and I mean, truly, and it sounds really cheesy, but it certainly did help mold me, and whether that's good or bad, I don't know. You could argue that, but I think back about my memories and 4-H, and there's nothing bad other than falling in the mud puddle.
Yes.
But I got that out of the way because it was like my first meeting.
Yes. Well, and I always tell kids, sometimes when you're unsuccessful, right, or something like that happens, you probably learn more from that than you do from positive experience. Like if I go in the ring, right, I'm like, yeah, I won my showmanship class. You probably don't learn near as much as if it's like I was third and I really thought I should have won.
Yeah.
Right. And the judge said I didn't do this and this.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's failures or unsuccessful things in sort of a safe place are the biggest learning opportunities we can have.
Absolutely. So. I cannot agree with you more on that. Well, Travis, thank you for hanging out with us this morning.
Oh, no problem.
So
Thanks for having me.
Fun. Would you come back and hang with us again sometime?
Absolutely. Anytime.
Very good. And, best of luck. Thank you for what you do. And if you are interested in signing up for 4-H, what's the website that they go to again?
So if you want to search for a club, vinton.osu.edu will get you that link of those clubs accepting new members. If you want to go right to the enrollment instructions are there as well. So if you want to enroll yourself in 4-H, you can pull up the step-by-step instructions and enroll online as well.
And the thing is, too, if you don't know exactly what club you think you should be in, they could call you or somebody and, maybe you can kind of guide them. Because I know certain clubs sometimes kind of specialize in certain things.
Yep, we sure can. So when people call, you can always call the office, 740-596-5212, and we can help guide you. So sometimes we'll ask people what projects are you interested in? Because sometimes we can steer you towards a club that has a volunteer that has some expertise there as well. So, yep.
Very good. Okay. Well, Travis, thank you. We appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And you will be back. We were not going to let you not come back.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Well, Jeremiah is here to do some news. So let's have another message or two, and we'll be back in just a moment.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegramnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegramnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegramnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegramnews.com.
Check it out.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of original artists and legends, such as Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern Rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
This just Telegram News.
Did you know Jackson is home to a locally owned and operated full-service print shop? Zip Printing covers all your print, signage, and design needs. From business cards, booklets, and posters to yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, oversized signage, and more. We can help you or your business advertise and look good doing it. Zip Printing also offers logo design. Allow us to assist you in building or elevating your brand today. Zip Printing is located in the Stockmeister Plaza at 708 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio. So stop in or give us a call at 740-286-3023.
The conversations off the air are just priceless here. Yeah. So,
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Jeremiah is here. We are going to talk about.
It's been a long week, Jen.
I'll tell you what, you just talk. I'll let you go.
Been a long week. I came in early today. I've been here since a little after 5, Jen. I've been up and at it. So
Did you make some Pete Wilson coffee to try to,
I stopped at McDonald's on my way through.
Okay.
And got some coffee. So
Okay.
And then I'm chasing that with some skis. So.
Oh, you should be in good shape here in just a little bit.
That should be okay.
Yep.
So off the bat here, I want to talk about what happened up in the city of Wilson last night. Trying to give you the latest fresh news,
Okay, sure.
And, as I sit here, I realized there was something else I wanted to touch on that I did not print off. So that's no good, Jen.
Oh, no. See, this is what happens when you come in and you're tired and it's 5 in the morning.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and talk about Wilson Council, and then I'll try to talk from memory on the other thing. So Wilson City Council met for regular session last night. That's Thursday evening, March 20th. The members voted 4-2 to pass and adopt resolution number 2518. This resolution will allow the City of Wilson to enter into a contract with Jackson County to receive police, fire, and emergency dispatching services. And this topic has been publicly discussed and reviewed since early January. Now, I know the mayor was in recently.
Yep.
This was one of the last things he touched on
when
he was in giving updates. I have wrote probably 6 or 7 stories about this matter, and apparently, I'm just going to say it, nobody has been reading my stories, okay? Because some of the comments on this Facebook post last night show that, okay? First off, the Wilson Police Department is not shutting down. The Wilson Police Department is there. The police chief is there. The officers are there. The only people that got let go, or I should say are being let go, is the police dispatchers. Those are the folks that you see behind the desk when you go downstairs in the city building there. That's the dispatchers, okay? Those are the folks who are losing their jobs.
Yes.
Okay?
Unfortunately.
Losing their jobs.
None of us want that.
Okay. Another comment I saw. The Jackson Police Department is not handling the city of Wellston, okay?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
Poor Brett Hinch.
Poor Brett Hinch has to watch the city of Jackson and the city of Wilson. Not true. Chief Robinson's still there, okay?
There is still a Wilson Police Department.
There's still a Wilson Police Department, okay? It wasn't like disbanded or anything. The officers are still there. They're just changing how calls come in and how dispatching is handled.
Yeah.
Okay? So also last night, there was 2 additional resolutions on the agenda that were passed as emergency.
Okay.
And they were number 2025-27 and 2025-28. And they were passed and they related to this matter. And it's basically next steps in the process. Okay. The one resolution eliminates the Wilson Police Dispatch Services and terminates the police dispatchers, while the other ordinance allows the mayor to offer each terminated dispatcher a severance agreement.
Okay.
Okay. A little more about that. The resolution states that the Wilson Police Department's police dispatchers are permanently laid off and terminated effective April 1st.
I was going to ask you when.
So we still got a little time.
Okay.
It says those losing their jobs include it's 2 full-time dispatchers. That's Jason Mollett and Joe Hell, as well as 3 part-time dispatchers. That's Abram Eggers, Kayla Milliken, and Landon Fott.
Okay.
Are the folks involved.
And nobody is happy about 5 people losing their jobs.
It's tough. They talked about that. It's hard.
Real bad.
Right. It was all done, because when they got looking at the general fund, which this department operates out of the general fund, they were looking at making cuts, which they went through and cut what they could, and then they came back to dispatch because they were like, well, if we can, source this out, may save us some money. Turned out it was going to save them money because the dispatch currently, with health benefits and wages and everything, it was like $250,000 for the in-house dispatchers. And the agreement with the sheriff's office was like around $100,000 per year. And then on top of that, the in-house folks, they're union, and there's negotiated pay increases over the next several years of over 30,000, upwards of 40,000 by the year 4 or 5 or something. And with those increases, the general fund was eventually going to run out of money, which is bad because when you run out of money in your general fund, then you get put in fiscal emergency, and the city of Wilson's been there, and they don't want to be there again.
The state comes in at that point, and you have no control over anything. They come in and take control of your city.
And they kind of say, hey,
and
this
people
is...
from Columbus or wherever
Right.
tell
So
you how to run your city.
So the mayor and service director was trying to get this straightened up.
I would really, if anybody has any questions, and I know that you have written articles ad nauseum about
I'm
this.
gonna write. This will be like number 9, I think. 8 or 9.
I really wish that y'all would go back and read these articles, and also go back to. And I wish I knew what day Mayor Brenner was on.
It was recent than the last week, I think.
Do you remember, Cheryl? Yeah, I can look it up.
But
Okay, she's gonna look it up, but please listen to what
he had to say. Yeah.
here on this show.
Right.
What?
The 11th he was on.
On March 11th.
March 11th.
Okay.
Go back and find that show on YouTube.
I thought he did. I think he did a pretty good job of explaining why they made the decisions that they made.
Yep. And I also want to say from last night, Wilson Mayor Anthony Brenner stated during the meeting that the city of Wilson has been helping those dispatchers with job placement.
Yeah, and he did mention that. Yes.
And he said so far 2 of the 5 have jobs lined up.
Oh, great.
He said with a third in the works. And then a little bit about the severance agreement.
Okay.
It says that during the transition period from local to county dispatch, the dispatchers have to, stay committed with the city. If those individuals stay committed during the transition, they will receive a total severance payment in the amount of $4,000, and that is payable in 2 biweekly payments of $2,000. It's like their regular payday following the termination date. So they'll get that money. It's like they're getting paid after they're getting paid after the termination.
Okay.
Additionally, those full-time dispatchers, which there are 2, they will have their health insurance benefits for 1 month following the termination date. So they won't have shouldn't have a lapse in their insurance.
Okay.
So that's kind of a breakdown of that. But I just want to say again, the city of Wellston, as far as, I had seen somebody say, how do we call? Okay, you can call 911, or you can call that regular business line, according to the police chief.
You do the same
Nothing
thing that you've
changes.
been doing.
You do what if you don't have an emergency call, you call that number, they'll still get you to somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's what the police chief said. He said nothing changes on that front. And once again, the city of Jackson dispatch will not be dispatching the city of Wilson. It's the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. They have a 911 center established. They handle
with all the proper and fancy equipment needed to dispatch.
Yeah, and they already handle all the fire calls, the EMS calls. They handle police dispatching for the village of Oak Hill, and now they'll be handling police dispatching for the city of Wilson. Mm-hmm. So just wanted to straighten that out because there's a bunch of miscommunication up there. So
I would just. Please read up on this, and also tune back, watch that March 11th show again with the mayor. I thought he did a really good job of explaining, and he also talked about Wellston was in fiscal emergency.
It was.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I was around for part of that, and I can remember when they come out of fiscal emergency.
And the state comes in and they take you over, and nobody has any control over anything.
Yeah, they had meetings on the funds and all that.
It's a mess.
I'm trying to find my other article real quick here. I had an update. There was a fire on Wednesday out across from the hospital. I don't know if you heard about that. Did I talk about that already? I don't think I've talked about that. I feel like I just got it.
Cheryl said you put a link to that show in the comments. Thank you, Cheryl.
Very good.
You did mention, but we didn't know anything about it at the time.
Yeah,
Fire.
There was a fire. I got all the details, and then I left it. I didn't print it off, but I'm seeing if I can pull it up here from. I did. I'm able to pull it up from my phone. How about that? Thank goodness for technology. Now I just got to read it because it's really small. Okay.
Do you want me to hold your phone over here?
I got it. I got it here. So this just before 9 p.m. on Wednesday evening, March 19th, Jackson firefighters were dispatched to a structure fire at a commercial building there on Twin Oaks Drive in Jackson.
Yes.
That big old building, it's all connected, and the structure's home to a number of businesses over there. There's like Fab D's, and there's like, I don't even know what else over there. I think there was like Heartland and just a bunch of
there were several
different things in there. And but anyway, firefighters arrived on scene 4 minutes later after the call.
Oh, wow.
Okay. They got lucky. The firefighters were in station doing cleaning and stuff. They do it like once a month or something. So they were able to respond very quickly. Got there in 4 minutes. They found smoke coming out of the eaves of the structure and began an interior attack of the structure. The fire was located in the rear of the structure in an external wall, and it had worked its way up into the ceiling, and it started to burn up into the roof. But, where the roof was metal, nothing actually come out of the roof.
Okay.
And but underneath that metal sheet roof, it was burnt, obviously. I talked to interim Jackson Fire Chief Kyle Hickey, and he told me that the cause of the fire was believed to be electrical in nature. He noted that it likely originated inside JD's Hometown Appliance. That business is an appliance service center, and it repairs appliances, sells parts, and new and used appliances. Okay. And the address is 110 Twin Oak Drive. It's in Suite A there in Jackson. Hickey had told me that there was a number of refrigerators along the back wall where they found the fire, and they were all burnt. So I don't know if it was related to one of those refrigerators, something malfunctioned or something that just, went up there. He said he didn't think the fire was suspicious, and that fire was contained to that storefront, just that one storefront.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So the fire, the smoke, and water damage was all...
Thank goodness for training and cleaning exercises.
Yeah, and he did tell me that, it was really windy that evening, and he said that the wind made him nervous, because he said a lot of times once it gets up into the roof and it catches the air, he said it would have just ran the whole length of that building both directions. And then it probably would have just, really got out of hand.
Not good.
I will say this was kind of interesting. There was a gentleman from a nearby business. It's called Equip Business Solutions. It's also in that same commercial building. A gentleman was taking the trash out, and he noticed the back of the building was glowing orange. And he's
so
like,
it was hot.
Yeah, he's like, that's not good.
Yeah,
that's not right.
But,
so
yes, it should not be good.
He called 911,
Awesome.
and that's how they got alerted to it. He said that the building's fire alarm, Hickey said the building's fire alarm did not function properly, which in turn did not alert the fire department as it should have. I guess it had like one of those fire alarms that should have went off and alerted authorities. Yes. And there was 4 fire departments on scene out there from mutual aid. No one was hurt during the incident, and they were there for about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So wanted to give you a little
Best
update on that.
Best case scenario for a horrible situation.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully have that online here shortly. And I was able to get with Hickey late yesterday afternoon to finally nail all that down. I know I'm running out of time here, but I want to mention this at the Marquette Culture Arts Center tonight. There's a free event. I think you had somebody in to talk about it.
We did.
Dolly Parton Imagination Library. That's happening tonight at the Marquette, and they are featuring a screening of a documentary film entitled "The Library That Dolly Built." And let's see, the doors open at 6, and I think the movie's at like 7. The documentary's at 7.
It would be super interesting, I think.
Yeah, and
to attend.
I guess they're kind of having this event to promote the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library here in the state. I think they had some kind of milestone, right? It's like 5 years or something in the county.
Something like that, yeah.
So they'll be doing that tonight. I'll be going up there to get some pictures and do some coverage tonight on that. So we'll have some pictures and some follow-up.
Very cool. And, who doesn't love you some Dolly? And, she's just a little delight. And she has done so much good for the world.
That she has. Real quick, the Jackson Band Boosters, don't forget about their spring fling. That's happening tomorrow, Saturday, March 22nd. That's always a big, if you've never been, huge fundraiser at the high school.
Yep.
And that's the Jackson City Schools Band Boosters that kind of plan that and put that on with all the other folks' help. Starting at 4 p.m., there will be a penny auction, silent auction, homemade chicken noodle dinner. So there's your lunch and dinner.
Heck yeah.
And
love that.
At 5 p.m., the Jackson High School Jazz Band will be performing in the common area. At 6 p.m., there will be performances by the 6th grade band, 7th grade band, 8th grade band, and the mega band with all class baskets and other items to be sold at a live auction between the performances. That mega band, I think, is where all the... I've never.
I think everybody
goes together.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures, and it's just like the entire
a bazillion kids play. It's cool.
It's really neat. So be sure to try to go out and support that. So
yep, absolutely.
I think that's it. I know we're a little over time, but
hey, you're okay. We appreciate you, and thank you for coming in and filling us in on all you know,
right,
or some that you know.
Yeah, no, it's been a busy week in the news world.
Yes, it has. All right. Well, happy birthday, Red Thompson.
Yes, happy birthday, Red Thompson. If he's watching, I'm sure he is. I know he tunes in sometimes.
Yeah.
Should we sing? I feel like we should sing.
They don't want to hear me sing, but we can sing to Red.
We're going to sing to Red.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Red. Happy birthday to you.
Good old Red.
Love our Red Thompson.
Yeah, he's always out and about.
He is.
Yeah.
Yep. Keeping us updated on what's going on, especially there in Benton County.
Yeah.
You got it. All right. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. Weather is so-so, and so just deal with it, and we'll be right back here on Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Get out, support the local kids and their endeavors this weekend at all the local musicals and things like that as well. So have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.